All right, so chapter 2 should be more or less 30 to 45 minutes. We're going to repeat a lot of the stuff from the first chapter, and some of the stuff I'm going to skip because tomorrow we have just one chapter. It's a long chapter. It goes in detail on a lot of the stuff that we have here between the first chapter and the second, okay? So I just want to give you the heads up on that. Tomorrow, make sure you have like Red Bull in the morning or whatever you want to have, energizing drink, no alcohol. But come with energy because it's a tough chapter. And the first 3 chapters are the most heavily tested chapters in the state exam. So there's roughly 30 questions between chapter 1, 2, and 3. All right? So out of 110. So that tells you that it's a lot. Okay? Then they mix some of the stuff from chapter 1, 2, and 3, they mix with the other chapters like listings, contracts, leasing, so they're all blended. And you're going to notice once we get to those chapters, I'm going to remind you of stuff from today and tomorrow. So make sure you pay attention, extra attention to these chapters. All right, you guys good? If you're already in the group, in the Facebook group, you probably would have noticed that you received a notification right now that says I'm about to start chapter 2. Okay, so just giving you a heads up, that's how it's going to work. Every time I start a class, I post it on Facebook, and everybody gets notification, new class is up. If I post something, let's say it's snowing, I hope it doesn't snow again, ever again, but it's snowing and it's impossible to get here, we have to cancel classes, that's where you get the notifications. I'll still text you and try to call you, but the group is where you should have everything you need, right? So, Commission Rules and Regulations, Chapter 2. Like I said, all this stuff, or the majority of the stuff, we already covered. You already know that a salesperson may not accept any form of compensation except from his or her supervising broker. A salesperson cannot maintain an escrow account or hold funds belonging to others. And a salesperson may not work for more than one New Jersey broker at a time. So how many brokers can we work for? You guys remember in the previous chapter I said, hey, if I have a broad question, stop interrupting me, Margarita. So you guys remember, I'm here speaking loud because of the train and the traffic and she comes cough right at the mic. She did it on purpose. It's right next to the mic to cough. I always have one person in class that does it. It's unbelievable. I'm just joking. You're still going to pass. Now, when I do a broad question like this, I'm trying to trick you. I ask, how many brokers can you work for? It's broad. Did I say New Jersey? I didn't mention New Jersey. So how many brokers can you work for? As many as you want. Different states is okay. If they ask in New Jersey how many brokers you can work for, well, one at a time. Can you move to another brokerage? Yes. Can you be working for a Keller Williams and a Remax in New Jersey? No. One or the other. Can you work for a Keller Williams in Jersey, a Remax in PA? Sure. As long as the company, because these are big franchises, as long as they don't have any conflict of interest. Right? Traditionally, when it's a franchise, you go to another state, you have to stay within the franchise. But just give you a heads up on this. You can have as many licenses as you want, different states. Right? State of New Jersey, only one broker at a time. On the right-hand side, we have main office. We're going to talk about main office and branch office. That almost all of it is exactly the same. I'm going to show you the differences in a second. So every broker, and I want to point something out right here. Every broker who is a resident of New Jersey must have a place of business. Every broker. If it says broker by itself, who are we talking about? Broker of? Record. So every time you see broker by itself means broker of record. Because if you're a broker salesperson, do you have to have an office? No. So every time you see broker, means broker of record. Gotta remember that. I'm going to repeat so many times that it's going to sound like a broken record. Now, the good news. Let's say you become the broker and you don't want to work for anybody else. That means you got to open an office. State of New Jersey, to help you, they say, okay, I'm going to force you to have your own office, but you can do it in your home. So instead of having the expense of, the big expense of getting an office, right, you can do it in your home. Just one condition. It has to have a separate entrance visible from the street. Right? Separate space, separate entrance. What does that mean? It means that your living room cannot be the waiting room. It has to be completely separate. What's business and what's personal. You guys got it? Yes? All right. Now, it doesn't matter where you are, if it's at home or if it's an office setting. The name, the broker's name and the words licensed real estate broker, must be conspicuously displayed on the exterior. What does that mean? It means that before I walk into that office, I must know who the broker of record is. Right? So, Dante, let's say you're my salesperson. You're bringing me here. Right? You're the one bringing me here.
Yeah.
Right? I'm a client. If you screw up, who can I sue? Both of them. The agent and the broker. But I need to know who your broker is. So if I come into this office, the first name outside is whoever is responsible for Dante's actions. Because remember, as a salesperson, you're under the supervision and guidance and responsibility of the broker of record. Not just the broker of record. Remember that. Okay? So that's why the name is displayed outside before we even do anything. Now, the license of the broker and those of any associates should be prominently displayed in the main office. And the broker may not allow someone else to use the firm name. So only the people that work in the office. Next page. The main office and the persons working in it must be under the full-time direct supervision of either a broker or a qualified broker salesperson. I covered this in the first chapter, but I need you to highlight and put stars, or just put stars for now. Full-time means, as it says right there, full-time means that the supervising licensee is physically present in the office during normal business hours, 5 days a week, okay? And is not otherwise employed. So you don't have any other job but to supervise people, okay? As far as branch office, each branch office must be under the supervision, again, of a broker or a qualified broker salesperson and must have a duplicate license. Additionally, the names of all licensees and the branch office supervisor must be recorded with the commission. So what we're saying is this. You guys right here, you're the main office. You guys right here, you're the branch office. Okay? All the licenses of main and branch office are listed here. Okay? Your licenses are listed here, but the main office licenses are not. So branch office only holds the licenses of the people that work there. Main office holds all the licenses. Okay, because the main office is responsible for branch as well. You guys got it? Now, trust account or escrow account. Has anybody ever heard of trust accounts, escrow accounts? Anybody? Yeah. Okay, because nodding the head does not answer the people at home. There's nobody watching right now, but you never know. Nodding the head, no. So say yes. Remember, yes? Even if you don't agree, just say yes?
Yes.
Thank you. So, trust account or escrow account. Can anybody tell me what it is? Even if it's wrong, just say it. What is it?
For initial deposits, which you purchase in a contract.
For the purchase? So, what does that mean?
So
For a purchase?
if you buy a piece of the house, you buy it's 200,000, let's say deposit is 3.5 because he has FHA. He was signed to do a deposit for $1,000 of good faith.
Good faith deposit. Okay, so I came to your office. You're the buyer's agent, right? I'm the buyer. I gave you $1,000 good faith deposit. And what did you do with that money?
The broker will put it in an escrow account until the time of closing.
Okay, so escrow account or trust account is to hold other people's money. I want you guys to write, is my favorite drug, you're gonna write OPM. Other people's money. OPM. Everybody loves that drug, right? Other people's money, don't touch mine. All right, OPM, other people's money, because that's what you need to remember. Escrow accounts are to hold other people's money. In this case, good faith deposit. So a broker must establish a separate special trust account, also known as escrow account, in an authorized financial institution in New Jersey, to be used for the deposit of all monies belonging to other persons. Sure, highlight that with stars. Now, the name of the financial institution and the account number must be reported to the commission, both at license application and time of renewal. So brokers, pay attention to this. If you're going for the broker's license, when you apply for your license as a broker for your office, you must already have your business account and the trust account. The trust account must be sent to the state. All the information. The state must know where other people's money is going to be. All right? So you have to have that, both at application and renewal.
What if we don't have escrow account and all the deposit money goes to the attorneys instead?
Yeah.
You still have to have it. It's a requirement. Even if no money flows to your account, you still have to have a separate account for compliance. But I understand, because we try to do the same, is I don't want that responsibility. So, Mr. Buyer, give it to your attorney. That's it. And then attorneys are like, oh, I don't want it to go through my trust account either. Can you hold it? Like, nope. But a lot of people do this. Just sometimes you have to understand, we're going to go over this. State of New Jersey, you're not required to have an attorney for residential transactions. So if they don't have an attorney, who's going to hold the check? Maybe, if they want to. Everybody's entitled to point fingers, like, no, you do it.
Yeah.
You do it.
How about the title company? They can hold it.
Yeah, that's what he said right now. They can, but will they? Or they could say, like I said, it's hot potato. Nobody wants that money in their account. It's a lot of liability, and I'm going to show you why in a second. Right? But traditionally, even if you don't have any monies going through, traditionally you have to have a separate account for it. Right? We avoid it at all costs, but we have it. It's a requirement for the state of New Jersey. Okay? Now, good news. There's no need for a separate account for each transaction. You just got to keep careful books to show what belongs to person A, person B, person C, and so on. And the account must also be clearly labeled so that it cannot be claimed by creditors in the event of bankruptcy or by heirs at the broker's death. Now, brokers are required to deposit funds coming into their keeping. So if the fund is to the real estate company, it must be deposited promptly, right? Which the commission defines as within 5 business days of acceptance. 5 business days of acceptance. Underline, double underline, business days. So, Hannah, you're my salesperson. I come to you with a $1,000 check. What must you do?
Put it in the escrow trust account.
Say louder.
Put it in the trust account.
You're my salesperson.
Give it to the broker.
Paul, say it louder.
Give it to the broker.
You got to give it to the broker immediately, because only the broker can handle the escrow account. Sorry, it was a trick question. Everybody gets tricked. Just saying. I'll trick you, you, and you, and so on. All right, so it's a potential question in the state exam. If it's given to you, the salesperson, like a hot potato, get rid of it. Give it to the broker immediately. Because the broker has 5 business days to deposit from the moment Anna received it. So she received it on Thursday, but gave it to the broker on Monday. How many days does the broker have to deposit? Well, Thursday, 5 business days after that. You guys understand? It's from your acceptance, salesperson. That's why immediately give it to the broker. Questions here? Okay. You have to understand, again, how the questions are written. They'll say they give it to you, the salesperson. The answer is, give it to the broker immediately. If the question was, how many days does the broker have to deposit? Then the answer would have been the 5 business days. Okay? We don't deposit anything. Now, I'm going to teach you Chinese. In real estate class, we teach Chinese. Brokers are specifically prohibited from commingling. If you hear this Chinese word, commingling, it means mixing funds. It means putting money in your business account that doesn't belong to you. If it's somebody else's money, it goes into the escrow account or trust account. Otherwise, you are commingling other people's money with your money. Got it? All right, on the right-hand side on top. You can highlight advanced fees, but it's not as tested as it used to be. When a client places advanced fees for more than $25 with a broker to assist for advertising costs, for example, the broker must give the client an account of how the money is being spent within 90 days. So let's say you acquire the listing and you say, listen, your house is amazing. Your house deserves its own website. I'm going to build a website for you. I'm going to have a virtual tour. I'm going to have also drone tour, the outside, right? But it costs a lot of money. So what I'm asking is if you'd be willing to split the cost. Now we know it's more than $25, right? Let's say it's $400, right? If the seller does give you an amount towards these things, towards a website, the pictures, the drone tour, the virtual tour, whatever, if they do give you money up front and it's more than $25, what must you do with the money? Give it to the broker, and the broker puts in an escrow account. And how you use the money must be reported to the seller within 90 days. It's not as heavily tested as before, but it is something you need to know, because in real life, if you do ask for monies up front, it could happen again. Beautiful house, you're putting a lot of money up front, right? Most of the sellers will be like, hey, you're the salesperson, it's on you. But some of them might be like, okay, I understand. I'll help you. Here's a check, here's whatever, right? So if it's more than $25, escrow account, and you must tell the client of how you spend the money within 90 days. All right, cool. So, Lucy, let's say that I gave you $1,000 cash, right? The good faith deposit, as we spoke about before. $1,000 cash. What must you do? Say it louder. One more time. Why? Because you're a salesperson. That's the simplest answer. You don't handle escrow, so give it to your broker. What if I gave you $10,000 as a good faith deposit? What do you do with the money? No, run to Atlantic City. Give it to the broker still. Doesn't matter how much money it is, you give it to the broker. Okay? But I gave you cash. What must you give me? A written receipt that I gave you cash. Okay? Now, if it's $10,000 or more, you must report to Uncle Sam, the IRS. They must know anything that's $10,000 or more. In banking, $10,000, $10,001 is reported. If it's $10,000 or more, you must report to the IRS. Doesn't matter what it is. What if the transaction did not go through? Should you give me the money back?
Yeah.
It's my money, right? Well, the broker does, but it's my money, so it has to come back to me, right? Now, I gave you cash, so I expect cash, right? Why not?
You know, the furniture matters, you must have a paper trail.
Paper trail. very, very important, guys. As brokers, we are open to be audited all the time. And the real estate commission does not have to make an appointment. Hey, I'm thinking about auditing your books tomorrow. Do you mind if we come in? No. They can walk through the door right now and just say, hey, show me your books. You can get audited at any time, no questions asked. You guys got it? So, you need to have paper trail. You gave me $10,000 in cash. I'm going to give you a receipt. But if I give you money back, it must be a check payable to you, never to cash. Okay?
Unless if it's Johnny.
Unless if it's who?
Johnny. Johnny Cash.
I did get it. I was just like,
Uh-huh.
okay. I'll play some Johnny Cash at the end. Oh, speaking of which, the actor, Joaquin Phoenix, he just won an award for the Joker.
Joker.
He didn't get it for Johnny Cash, but he got it for the Joker.
He played good, Johnny Cash.
He played better Joker, apparently. Permanent records.
That's a joke.
Permanent records. Every broker must keep records of the trust account for
6 years.
We mentioned that in the previous chapter. We're mentioning it again, and it's going to keep on coming. 6 years. In chapter 11, I'll tell you exactly why. Okay? But 6 years, got to keep it. Regulation of documents. It says right here, every person who signs a listing contract, sales contract, or lease should immediately receive a duplicate original of the document. What does that mean? It means if there's 10 people in the transaction, 10 people must sign 10 separate originals. That's why it's called duplicate originals. Now you sign one and we make copies. 10 wet signatures per contract. Got it? Very important. Next, commissions are negotiable between the client and the broker. But wait, we're the ones that knock on the door, right? The salespeople? We're the ones that sit down with the seller and say, hey, how about 6%? How about 5%? How about 20%, right? We're the ones negotiating. Yes?
Yeah.
But the answer is client and the broker. Why? Because the listing belongs to the broker. And we assist the broker in obtaining listings. Okay, so we're negotiating on behalf of the broker. So who does that commission belong to? Sorry, I have to drill this because there's so many questions. So commissions are negotiable. No contract can contain anything indicating a prescribed fee schedule. Does anybody know what's the standard commission in the state of New Jersey?
6%.
What is it?
6%.
What is the standard commission in the state of New Jersey?
Negotiable.
Ah, we just read it.
Exactly. Trick question.
Yep, plenty of those. There's no standards. What is common, what we hear on the streets, 5-6%, that's the average, that's the acceptable, right? But there's nothing set as a standard. In fact, no contract can state that. Even in the listing that nobody reads to the clients, it says, as a seller, you have the right to individually reach an agreement on any fee, commission, or valuable consideration. No salesperson ever reads that. They say, check your 6% out the door. Can't. It's right there. They have to know that the commission is negotiable. So here's the good news. If it's negotiable, should you start at 6? 7?
Wow.
Start at 10. If you fall on 7, it's great. I'm just saying, it's negotiable. You can put whatever you want.
Not everyone pays in percentage. They give you a flat rate.
Correct. We'll talk about that tomorrow as well. So it could be a flat rate. It could be hourly rate if you want. Good luck keeping track of that. Now, something else to remember, guaranteed state exam question or your money back. Do not write state exam question on the book. It says licensees can prepare sales contracts only, circle, only, for 1 to 4 family homes and single building lots. If it's 5 units or more, or if it's commercial, industrial, institutional. Those are not traditional transactions. They're awkward, they're weird transactions. So attorneys prepare those. We prepare standard 1 to 4 families, okay? Anything beyond that, we prepare what's called a letter of intent, and then attorneys handle everything else. Okay? Questions so far? No? Great. On top, I already covered this. In the state of New Jersey, you're not required to have an attorney, but it does require in every contract to include an attorney review clause. Meaning, Mr. Buyer, Mr. Seller, you have the right to seek an attorney who will approve or disapprove the contract within 3 business days. Make sure you highlight, underline, put stars. 3 business days. Beyond the 3rd business days, we'll talk about this when we get to chapter 11. Beyond the 3rd business day, it's now a binding contract. Nothing can be altered. If you want to make changes to the contract, it was within 3 business days. Next, all written offers must be forwarded to the sellers within 24 hours. And at the time of listing, owners of the property must be furnished with a copy of the Attorney General Memorandum regarding New Jersey law against discrimination. All this stuff I'm saying fast because, again, tomorrow we go in detail and so on, right? So when I need to slow down, I will. I just addressed this. In New Jersey, you can choose whether or not to hire a lawyer. Not a requirement. Okay. Other documents below. The broker must keep copies of all unaccepted offers to purchase for 6 months from the date of the initial offer. How long must you keep the offers?
6 years.
Let me ask again. How long must you keep the offers?
Months.
Keep the office.
Hmm?
Unaccepted offers.
Hmm?
Unaccepted offers.
Say it louder.
6 months.
If they're unaccepted offers, 6 months. If they've been accepted, they became contracts. And if it's contract, it's a permanent record. If it's a permanent record, we keep them for 6 years. All right? I'm sorry, but again, I'm going to trick you as much as I can because state exam is that. Unaccepted offers. So remember my question is how long do you keep the offers? I kept it broad again. So you got to look for the answer that talks about either unaccepted or accepted. If they're accepted, 6 years. Unaccepted, 6 months from the offer. You got it? Don't hate me after this, okay? I just want to make sure you guys pass. Where it says broker business relationship, we're going to cover it tomorrow. Just want you to highlight a couple things here. So on the right-hand side, it says listing broker and seller as the principal. Brokers, obligation is to put the principal's interest first. However, still requires fair and honest dealing with other parties. Again, tomorrow in detail. Tomorrow's going to be a long morning. Just giving you a heads up. All right. Right above waiver of broker cooperation form in that page, right at the bottom, right above that, you're going to highlight to give sellers the best service possible. Commission expects brokers to cooperate with other firms that may want to show lists of property. What does this mean is, this is right here is a, let's say, exit listing on this side, right? And there's a Weichert agent here that wants to show the exit listing property. What are we going to say? No, because you belong to a different agency? By state of New Jersey Commission standards, we have to cooperate with other agencies. Have to. It's not like, hey, I don't like them. They're yellow. I don't like it. Nope, can't do that. Have to show. You guys got it? But if the seller says, hey, I gave the listing to you guys, So only you guys sell my property. I don't want you to deal with them, the yellow. You got it? So if the seller expresses that, then they have to sign what's called a waiver of broker cooperation form. All it says, I'm not going to read the whole thing. You guys can read it later. All it says is, listen, exit agents, I understand that by working within your agency only, it's going to be exposed to your agents only. Therefore, it might stay longer on the market. Because it stays longer, it might sell for less. It doesn't have as much exposure, right? I understand that, and I still want to move forward. Keep it in-house, right? It's not illegal as long as they sign this. There's a lot of agents out there that what they do is keep it in their pocket until they find a buyer. That is illegal. Careful. If it's signed to be listed, and we'll talk about this more in chapter 10 when we talk about listings. If it's signed to be listed, then it must go on the MLS within 48 hours. Yeah, I know some people that just keep it until they find the buyer, because then they get the full commission. That part is illegal. Okay?
I got a question.
Yes.
So if in a situation like that, are we have the okay to ask for the copy of the waiver from the other agent?
You can. They don't have to provide, but you can. They don't have to. It's between the seller and the broker. It's not the agent, it's the broker.
Because some agents, they don't let you show their property for whatever reason. And
Yeah. I don't think.
they have to have the okay from the seller to do
Yeah.
that.
The only thing you can do is, if it's something that happens often, you can report to the real estate commission and let them investigate. But you can never go and open books that belong to somebody else. Does that make sense? You can ask the real estate commission to investigate because it's a pattern, and I know what you're talking about. There's some agencies out there. There's actually one in Elizabeth that's very famous for this, right? But you cannot go and just, hey, show me what you got. You're not the principal in the transaction. Okay, only the principal can say, hey, show me the records. Okay, if you're a different agency, all you can do is complain. Okay, now, again, we talk about this tomorrow. The broker and buyer is a principal, just highlight as it is. That means you represent the buyer. The next one is broker as a disclosed dual agent. That means you represent both. Again, tomorrow we'll go in detail. Just highlight for now as it is. Today's the easy part. Tomorrow. And now you're thinking, what did I get myself into?
Only one.
Yep. All right, broker is a transaction broker. That means you don't represent anybody. You manage a transaction. Again, tomorrow I'll explain in detail.
Why don't I explain that?
Not to you. Tomorrow's gonna run up the stairs. I passed a lot of stuff. I thought you were gonna say a lot of stairs. It is a lot of stuff. Well, here's the good news. You're not taking the brokers. That's way more stuff. Broker and salesperson. Now, before you can begin working for a sponsoring broker, right? So before you work for somebody else, there has to be an agreement, an independent contractor agreement. Because again, you are your own boss. You're just being sponsored by a broker. Okay? Your broker is not your boss, is not your employer. They're your sponsor. That means you are blessed. You get to wear their flag. Right? It's like Nike. Nike's sponsoring you. You don't work for Nike, but you got to wear Nike. Does that make sense? So here's the same thing. If we're a Remax agent, they're not your boss. We have to wear their colors, their flag, their everything. Not anybody else's. You guys got it? So this agreement must state immediately. I'll promise to work on the noise throughout this week. The agreement must, the first thing they must say in the agreement is how much you're going to get paid. Is it a salary? Is it a commission? It's a rate split? What is it? It has to be stated in the agreement before you work for somebody. Did you ever go get a job and be like, what is the position? right? And they say, oh, you're a secretary. Great. When do I start? What is missing here? How much do I get paid? Money, the moolah, right? So up front, the broker must state that for every transaction you do, we're going to split 70-30, let's say. So you get 70%, the brokerage gets 30%, or whatever structure they have up front. The other thing that's really cool, and the only thing that nobody ever forgets in the whole class, is the broker's promise to pay you within 10 days. Within 10 days of what? Closing. Because you receive the commission at closing, right? So you can mark your calendars. We closed, check in hand. 10 days later, you get paid. Or, because the broker does not go to the closings, you do. If you take too long to bring that check to your broker, it says, as soon thereafter as the check is cleared. So when should you take the check to your broker?
Right away.
Immediately.
Yes.
Run. The day of the closing. Teleports. Get there as quick as possible and say, hey, broker, we closed. Cash that check, give it to me right now. No, 10 days. That's the promise. The third bullet point here, I call this the prenup clause. I call it, it's not going to be in the state exam. You don't have to look for any answer that says prenup. No. I call it the prenup clause. Does anybody know what a prenup is?
Agreement.
It's an agreement. What kind of agreement?
Write agreement. What do I have? What do you have? Before and after.
Great. So it's like, it's pretty much this. Hey, broker, I really love you. And the broker goes, salesperson, I love you. But before we get married, because that's in the contract, before we get married, you should know that if you ever leave me, instead of paying you 70%, I'll give you 15% for everything that stays behind. That's why I call it a prenup. It's upfront saying, we love each other. This is the best real estate agency ever. Ever. And then tomorrow you find another one, because the grass is always greener on the other side, right? So you find another one, and you leave. Remember, listings are not yours, right? So they stay behind. The broker will state up front how much they pay you for whatever stays behind. Must be in every independent contract or agreement. Is that clear? Okay, there's no answer that says prenup, just letting you know again. And finally, any changes to the contract, this is obvious, this is logical, any changes to the contract must be signed or initialed by both parties. Okay? Questions? Yep, great. Advertising. This is our final run. We're almost there. Advertising. New Jersey Real Estate Commission has regulations regarding any advertisement offering to sell, buy, exchange, or rent real property. They are intended to let the public know exactly with whom they're dealing. Remember, if you work for a RE/MAX, as I said before, you wear their flags, right? So they need to know that you as a salesperson represent RE/MAX. And which RE/MAX do you represent? Well, the one in, let's say, Kearney. Okay, so who's the broker there? Now they can start identifying who it is. Does this make sense? So all your advertisement, there's a lot of agents out there that make this mistake. They create a Facebook page, the business page, and they advertise themselves. I sell homes. No, you don't. Your agency does. You do it on behalf of your agency. You guys got it? Very important. Any advertisement you do must include your agency info. So the regulations cover all media, including publications, broadcasts, stationery, business cards, email, web page, and social media. So whatever you do as far as marketing, it's you and your sponsoring broker. I'm telling you, if you're sponsored by Nike, you can never be seen wearing Puma. Right? Just saying, you're already advertising the wrong company. All right, so all ads must indicate the broker's business name, followed by terms such as realtor, realtist, real estate broker, or real estate agency. The licensee's name must appear exactly as it is on the license, with the exception of any middle name or initial, which cannot be used. But you can add a nickname. So let's say you have Joseph, we'll call them Joseph Ramos, right? So you have a Joseph Ramos. When you have somebody named Joseph, usually what do you call that person? Joe. That's perfectly fine. Your advertisement, your business card, your everything must state Joseph, Joe, Ramos. You got it? If you want to include your nickname, you can. But your full name must still be there. Very important. Just careful with your nicknames. I see Sunin's already laughing. Right? I don't know what they call you, but I'm going to keep it at that.
I was thinking of it, you trust me.
You're thinking about a nickname?
Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody know that comedian Gabriel Iglesias? Anybody? The fat guy, yeah.
Yeah.
What is his nickname? Fluffy. Imagine you giving a business card, hi, I'm Fluffy. Want to sell? Or want to buy? No, careful with the nicknames. Now, this is for you guys, as salespeople. An ad that includes a salesperson's name, it's in green, highlight, underline, put stars, guaranteed state exempt question, or your money back. An ad that includes a salesperson's name must also include the name of real estate company. As I was saying before, it's not you, it's the brand. And look, it says in larger type or more prominently. People must see the brand first, then you, because that's who's sponsoring. Everything else is the same. Full first and last name must be used. Another guaranteed question right here, next page. All ads must specify the property's municipal location. That means if I'm listing a Newark property, you must state that it's in Newark. Simple. You cannot say in the vicinity of, thank you, you're catching. See, this is why we don't call for a sneeze in the class, because then other people catch it. So let's say you're in Newark. You cannot say in the vicinity of Elizabeth. Why? It's not in Elizabeth. But if you say vicinity of Elizabeth, but the property's in Newark, now we know more or less where the property is, instead of the other side of Newark. You guys got it? Now, let's say does anybody read newspapers? Anybody still? No, nobody, right? If you do like this, it's no. All right, nobody. So everybody sees like the marketplace, Craigslist, stuff like that, right? But if you go to Craigslist, it's divided by sections, right? North, Central, and so on, right? It doesn't. There's no section that says Union or Newark or whatever. But if there were, just like in newspapers, let's say the property is in Newark and you're in the section of the advertisement, section of Newark where it advertises, right? Then you don't need to repeat that the property is in Newark because it's already in that section. Now you can say vicinity of whatever without repeating Newark. And that's what it says, because that's most likely the question. Head of the column, so the municipal location, the head of the column in which the ad appears. You got it? That's most likely the question. If in an ad, a broker refers to membership in a multiple listing service, the full name of that service must be spelled out. So GSMLS is Garden State MLS. Okay? NJMLS is New Jersey MLS. You guys understand what I'm saying? CJMLS is Central Jersey MLS. So what I'm trying to say is if there's enough room in the ad, unless it has 20 lines or fewer, if there's enough room in the ad, then you must state the full name of the MLS. Okay? Next paragraph. Everybody knows this one. An ad may not indiscriminately promise financing. All loan terms must contain the words "Togolar." Right? Right? Simple. What's that face, Dante?
I don't have my glasses on.
Oh, okay, but you heard me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Trying to figure out what it was saying.
You trying to figure out what I said?
No, what the screen said.
Okay, the screen didn't say anything, I did. The screen is just showing you.
Correct.
Okay. I'm always busting chops. So it says, all loan terms must contain the words, "Right," because that's what it says on the ad on the radio, right? Right? When you have an ad that says, buy this car, it's only $200 a month, and they put to a qualified buyer right there. It's still there, right? Do you see it? You don't, but it's there. So you got to remember, when you're promising financing, you've heard on the radio, they speed up at the end. It's like a prescription drug. It's going to help you from depression, but it might kill you, might give you this, might give you that, might give you that. It's really fast. To a qualified buyer. It must be disclosed. Simple. We'll go more over this when we get to mortgages. All right, any offer of a free item or service must be generally free and cannot be contingent upon any purchase or listing of a property. A free offer cannot be linked to a lottery, contest, game, or drawing. Since we're almost at lunchtime, I usually like to say that, you ever heard of open houses? You know the open houses, they offer most of the times free beverages or, right, maybe donuts, maybe whatever, right? The moment they say free, it's free. So if you're ever hungry and you're in the neighborhood, all you have to do, walk in, grab a coffee, eat, right? Go through the house if you want. If not, walk out. Open house can never be forced to sign in. They can suggest, but they cannot force you. All right? And this is just to give you a heads up. When you're marketing and you're advertising, you want to make sure you're trying to get qualified people or really interested people to get to the open house. Otherwise, you get what's called freeloaders. People walk in, they get their coffee, they get their food, and walk out. And if you want to take your significant other out, go to a broker's open house.
Yeah.
Because then they have the champagne, they have the caviar. It's a nice outing, right? You saw that? All right. I'm joking, but I'm serious at the same time. Careful what you offer for free. You can never say, hey, you'll get this if you sign up, or get this if you list. Don't. Advertising that offers free appraisals is also prohibited. You cannot offer free appraisals because appraisals are services performed for a fee by a certified appraiser. What we do is free valuations called CMA, comps, or comparables, comparative market analysis. That we can offer for free. Got it? What's the difference between free and fee?
Free is free.
Say it louder.
Free is free, fee is a fee. Then you have to pay.
White is the opposite of black. That's a perfect explanation. No. What is the difference between free and fee?
Free no pay, fee pay.
No. What is it? The R. That's the difference. Everybody knows fee you pay, free is you don't pay. But when you're reading in the state exam, if you speed read, the R, one letter, and I can guarantee you guys, sometimes one word you don't read. Imagine one letter can change everything. You don't know how many mistakes I see just for not reading things properly. And you guys are going to notice at the end of each chapter, there's a small quiz. Test yourselves at home. You're going to see what's going to happen. Once you go back to see the mistakes you made, you're like, oh, it was free, or it was for a fee. Stuff like that. Just one little thing you guys don't read. Next, any advertisement that mentions a specific commission rate or amount must also state that in New Jersey, commissions are 6%. Say it again? Negotiable. We went over this. Great. Where it says commission rebates, this is very quick. We already did that. In front of commission rebates, just write to a buyer. Because it's commission rebates to a buyer. A buyer is the only entity that can receive a percentage of something without having a license. And that's called a rebate. Did we go over this before? Great. Good? Yes? Okay, great. Price fixing we'll talk about tomorrow. And the last thing, probation, suspension, and revocation. This is the last section. We're almost done. Commission may investigate complaints against the action of licensees or investigate on its own. It may place a licensee on probation, like if you do it again, here's what's going to happen. Suspend your license or even revoke your license. In addition, fines for violations shall not be less than $250 and no more than $50,000. Okay? So not that bad. Just a couple of houses and you pay for it. Procedure is, before they suspend or revoke your license, they have to give you at least 10 days advance notice of a hearing. Meaning, today's the 20th, license expires on the 30th. You had until today to show up in front of the commission and plead your case. Please don't suspend or don't revoke my license because of this, this, and that. The 10 days advance notice of a hearing is for you to show up and try to get them not to suspend your license. You see all this in green? Get these questions right here. Brokers, if you're going for brokers, pay close attention. When a salesperson is disciplined, the broker's license may or may not be affected as well. That depends on whether the broker had guilty knowledge. That means you knew what was going on and did not attempt to stop it. You knew your salesperson. Remember I said when I walked into the office with Dante, I needed to see who the broker was? Remember that? Mm-hmm. Because if he screws up on my deal, I'm going to sue both of them. I mentioned that, didn't I? If we can prove that the broker knew what he was doing, like he was, this happens a lot. Now, not as much now because we have e-signatures, but it happens a lot where we forget to sign something, right? And then the best excuse ever is, don't worry, broker. The buyer is in the car. I'll be right back. Now, how many times can you pull that excuse? Before the broker goes like, wait a minute. This guy comes to the office to submit contracts and the buyer is always in the car waiting? It's very weird, right? Celine's like, yeah, definitely not. Celine, what was Dante doing? What, you're going to incriminate yourself? You better not say anything. Okay, plead the fifth. What was he doing? He was about to answer.
I was meeting the guy in the car.
You're meeting the guy in the car, but the guy was not there. So what was he doing? Forging the signature. But 5 years and 1 day allows him to do it again. So if I'm the broker and I know what he's doing, am I at fault as well for allowing this to happen? Can I lose my license?
Yes.
Yes. Here's the good news. If I lose my license, guess what happens to all of your licenses? Everybody gets suspended. You can thank Dante for that. Or me for allowing it. Are you guys understand this? This is very serious, especially if you're taking the broker's course. For the exam, they're going to trick you. For this particular question, there's up to 8 answers. Salespeople, you only have 2 answers. One of them is, when the broker's licenses are suspended or revoked, the salesperson's license are suspended until the end of the licensing period. What you need to think is, what's the immediate action? If your broker is suspended, you're no longer sponsored, so immediately you're suspended. The alternative, which could cost you for brokers, could cost almost half a point. The alternative is, during that time, salespersons are free to affiliate with another broker at no charge. This is not the option. The option is the first one. What happens immediately? Suspension. What can you do after? Move to another broker at no cost. Did you guys understand this? That's how they trick you. 2 potential answers within the same paragraph, but which one is the most effective? Immediate suspension. You guys got it? All right. just highlight violations, and we're done. Because we either covered these violations, or we're gonna cover the next couple of chapters. Make sure you guys study at home. Make sure you guys review and try the questions at the end. And if you have any questions, don't forget, the Facebook group is there for that. You guys ask questions, and I'll create quick videos explaining your question. Okay?
Can I ask a question?
No. That's good. Good.
Just to go back to the first chapter, you talked about the veterans with the exception.
Yes.
Was the exception for to do the exam?
No, it's the experience requirement. They still have to do the class. It's a 3 years. They still have to do the class. So pretty much they do 75 hours and then they do 150 right after,
Right after, right, okay.
right? But they bypass the whole 3-year waiting period. That's what it is. Okay? You guys good? Hope you guys enjoyed it. Tomorrow, 10:15 on the dot, we start. If you're not here, I'm moving forward, okay?
With the highlighters here or the?
That's all yours. Whatever we gave you is yours. Just leave the chairs and the tables. Thank you.